My daughter asked why daddy doesn't like her. Then my wife found my Reddit post. Okay, so I'm 38 male, and until recently I was married to my wife, 34. We have 4 kids, 7-year-old daughter, 6-year-old son, and 2 4-year-olds, 1 boy and 1 girl. Yes, twins. Yes, our house was chaos. No, apparently that is not an excuse for being a terrible father. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, my wife and I got into a huge argument a few months ago because she accused me of not liking our daughters, which first of all, I don't hate my daughters. I love them, obviously. I'm closer to my sons. That's not some crazy thing, right? I'm a guy. I like guy stuff. My sons like guy stuff. We play video games. We go fishing. We watch sports. We mess around outside. It's easy. With my daughters, it's dolls and princesses and dresses and whatever. I don't care about that stuff. I never have. So yeah, I spend more time with the boys. I didn't think that was some massive moral failing. Apparently my wife did. It started one night after the kids went to bed. I was lying in bed, scrolling on my phone, and my wife came into the room. She didn't say anything, just stood there, which is never good. If your wife walks into a room and silently stares at you, you have approximately 3 seconds to review your recent crimes. I had no idea what this one was. Then she said, "Why doesn't our daughter think you like her?" I actually laughed, not because it was funny, because I thought she was being ridiculous. I said, "What?" She said our 7-year-old had been crying when she tucked her in. Apparently she asked, "Why doesn't daddy like me?" And I said, "She's 7. Kids say stuff." My wife just stared at me. She was crying. Our girls cry over everything. Yeah, I know. I said that out loud to my wife while discussing our daughter crying because she thought her father didn't love her. Really nailed that one. My wife said our daughter had noticed that I treat the boys differently. I said I don't treat them differently. I just have more in common with them. She said, "She's your daughter. You don't need to have things in common with her." I told her that wasn't fair. If she wants to play dolls, she can play dolls with her mom or her sister. I don't like dolls. My wife said, "She doesn't care if you like dolls. She wants you to play with her." And I said, "Why should I pretend to be interested?" That was apparently the wrong answer. She started yelling. I started yelling. She called me immature. I told her she was making something out of nothing. She said, "Your 7-year-old daughter thinks her dad doesn't like her." And I said, "She'll get over it." Yeah, that was me. That was genuinely what I thought. She left the room. I think she slept in our daughter's room that night. I didn't think much of it. Then I made the Reddit post. I explained everything. I said I was closer to my sons because we had more in common. I said I don't like princesses or dolls. I said I didn't understand why my wife thought this was such a huge deal. And Reddit basically responded with, "Dude, what the hell is wrong with you?" One person said that my 7-year-old had already figured out her dad doesn't make an effort with her. Another said I could occasionally pretend to enjoy something my daughter likes. Someone suggested I put on a tutu and dance with her. I replied, "I'm not wearing a tutu." I don't know why I thought that was a good response. It wasn't. Another person said my daughter wasn't upset because I didn't like princesses. She was upset because she thought I didn't like her. I said my girls cry over everything. Again, I actually typed that. I am starting to understand why Reddit hated me. Then somebody asked why I couldn't spend 15 minutes doing something my daughter enjoyed. I said I didn't want to waste my time doing something I wasn't interested in. That sentence has aged terribly. Because apparently, I don't want to waste my time, and playing with my 7-year-old daughter should never be used in the same sentence. Anyway, then my wife found the post. She found it because she came into our bedroom looking for her charger. My laptop was open. I was asleep, so she read everything. And then she made a Reddit account. She started her comment with, "I am the wife." Oh no! She said she didn't have an account before, so she made one specifically to respond to me. That is honestly terrifying. Because when your wife creates a Reddit account solely to expose you, you're probably not winning the argument. Then she started listing things I'd left out. A lot of things. First, our daughter hadn't originally cried to her. She cried to me. She asked me if I liked her. I didn't care. Then she went to her mom. That was the first thing that made my stomach drop. Because I had written the post like my wife had simply overheard our daughter being emotional. No. Our daughter had gone directly to me, and I brushed her off. Then came the vacations. I'd taken our sons on multiple trips without the girls. I called them boys' trips. Apparently our daughters had been told girls weren't allowed. My wife also pointed out that I used her money to pay for those trips, which, okay, not my strongest defense. Then she mentioned the daddy-daughter dances. I refused to go because I thought they were stupid. My wife went instead. Then she mentioned that I had made our daughters clean up after their brothers because I said cleaning was a girl's job. I barely remembered saying that, which, again, is apparently not a great defense. Then she revealed something else. I didn't work. Not really. I told people I worked from home. I was unemployed. My wife was a doctor. She paid for the house. She paid the bills. She took care of the kids. School, sports, appointments, everything. I was basically sitting in the house while pretending I was contributing, which is a pretty impressive level of self-delusion when you think about it. I had somehow convinced myself that because I was around, I was parenting. Apparently sitting on the couch while your wife does everything isn't actually called parenting. Who knew? Then my wife said something that really got me. She said our daughter actually liked boy stuff. She liked fishing. She liked video games. She liked playing with her brother. She would apparently do almost anything if it meant getting 5 minutes of my attention. And suddenly my whole argument collapsed. because I had spent years saying we had nothing in common, but I hadn't even bothered to find out. I just decided she wasn't my kind of kid. That's a pretty horrible thing to realize about yourself. My wife ended her comment by saying she was done. She said when I woke up, I would be told to leave the house. I thought she was bluffing. She wasn't. The next morning, she took all 4 kids out for ice cream. She told me to pack my things. I tried to argue. I said we'd fix it. I said I would change. I said I loved the kids. She just looked at me and said, "You had 7 years." 7 years. That sentence still bothers me, because what was I gonna say? You're right, but I was planning to start being a father eventually. I moved out. The divorce started. I fought for custody. All 4 kids. Because obviously I did. I wanted to prove I wasn't a bad father, which is a funny strategy when everyone has evidence that you're a bad father. There were statements, messages, financial records, family members, things I had done that I barely remembered because apparently they were normal to me. They weren't normal. My 6-year-old had noticed how I treated his sisters. This part absolutely wrecked me. He had apparently offered his spot on trips to one of his sisters. Multiple times. He wanted her to get to go, and I said no. My 6-year-old son understood that something was unfair before I did. That was humiliating. He was sick. I was 38. One of us was emotionally mature enough to notice our sisters were being hurt. It wasn't me. Eventually, I lost custody. Then visitation became supervised, and eventually even that became complicated. My oldest son didn't want to see me. That hurt, but I couldn't really blame him. He'd watched everything. He'd watched me exclude his sisters. He'd watched me dismiss them. He'd watched me favor him. And apparently he had figured out that being the favorite wasn't actually something to be proud of. The last time I saw the kids before the custody situation changed completely. They were all standing with their mother. My daughter didn't run toward me. She used to. She'd come sprinting down the hallway when I got home. This time she stayed next to her mom. My youngest daughter was holding her mother's hand. My sons were standing there too. Nobody ran to me. Nobody was excited. And I finally understood what my wife had been trying to tell me. I thought my problem was that I didn't have enough in common with my daughters. It wasn't. My problem was that I expected my daughters to make themselves interesting enough for me to bother knowing them. That's not parenting. That's auditioning, and they never should have had to audition for their father's attention. I used to say I was closer to my sons because I'm a guy and they're boys. I thought that was just biology. It wasn't biology. It was convenience. My sons liked the things I liked. So being involved with them didn't require me to leave my comfort zone. My daughters required effort, and I didn't want to make that effort. That's the ugly truth. I didn't need to like dolls. I didn't need to love princess movies. I didn't need to become some kind of professional ballerina. I just needed to sit on the floor for 15 minutes and play whatever stupid game my daughter wanted to play. I couldn't even do that because apparently my masculinity was so fragile that a plastic teapot was going to destroy it. Honestly, the tutu comment makes me laugh now. Not because I think I was right, because I understand what the commenter was actually saying. They weren't saying I needed to become a different person. They were saying, your daughter doesn't care about the tutu. She cares that you're willing to wear it for her. And I couldn't even understand that. My wife was right. Reddit was right. My kids were right. I was the asshole. Not because I liked my sons. Not because I had more shared interests with them. That's normal. I was the asshole because I turned having different interests into an excuse to neglect my daughters. I told myself I was simply closer to my sons. What I really was more willing to be a father to them. And there is a pretty massive difference between those two things. My daughters deserved a dad who would watch the princess movie, or play dolls, or go fishing, or play video games, or wear the stupid tutu. Whatever. They just wanted their dad. And I spent 7 years acting like that was too much to ask. And honestly, getting roasted by Reddit was probably the cheapest part of the divorce. And now, oopsie doopsie time, because I'm sorry. But the second this man typed, my girls cry over everything, I would have had to pause the video. Like, sir, your 7-year-old is crying because she thinks her own father doesn't like her. And your defense is basically, yeah, well, she's a girl, so she cries. Oh, okay. Cool. Fantastic. Meanwhile, the 6-year-old son is apparently offering his vacation spot to his sisters because even he can see dad is playing favorites. A 6-year-old. At that point, I'm not even reading the comments anymore. I'm just sitting there like, somebody please check on this man's children. Because apparently, the 6-year-old has been promoted to head of emotional intelligence. And then the wife finds the post. Oh, buddy. You left the Reddit post open on your laptop? You were not just the asshole. You were the asshole with receipts. And then she starts dropping the missing context like a DLC expansion. The vacations, the daddy-daughter dances, the girls should clean because they're girls comment, the fact that he doesn't actually work, the fact that the daughter likes fishing and video games anyway. At that point, the original post is basically a crime scene and the wife just walked in with a flashlight. And honestly, the line that got me was, you had 7 years. Because what exactly was he planning to do? Wait until she was 18 and suddenly go, hey, want to hang out? I just discovered you're actually pretty cool. No, you don't get those 7 years back. And that's the part that makes this whole thing so much sadder than the Reddit verdict. The daughter wasn't asking for some magical father-daughter relationship. She wasn't asking him to become a princess-loving ballet dad. She wanted 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And he couldn't be bothered. Meanwhile, she was apparently willing to go fishing, play video games, run through mud, whatever. She was trying to meet him halfway. She was 7, he was 38. And somehow she was the one doing the emotional heavy lifting. That is brutal. Also, the tutu comment. I'm sorry, but that aged like milk left in the sun. Because nobody was actually asking him to become a tutu-wearing Disney princess. The point was just, your kid thinks this is fun. You love your kid. So occasionally suck it up and wear the stupid tutu. That's parenting. Sometimes you are the dragon. Sometimes you are the tea party guest. Welcome to fatherhood, my guy.